Yo, what is going on, guys? So on today's episode, we're going to be kicking it off with a woman who is ready to settle down. Now, this woman is 50 plus years of age, but don't worry, guys, she has not lowered her standards and she will not try and prove herself to a man because a man is supposed to see her worth. So without further ado, let's just jump into the video and take a listen to what she has to say.
I have a question. So when did dating and relationships and everything become so complicated? Is it just because I'm old or what?
Dating is so hard and it's so complicated because you waited so long to actually do it. I don't care if you're divorced. I don't care if you've been casually dating this whole time. The fact of the matter is, if you're a girl and you're over the age of 50, you should not be dating at all. You could have found your Prince Charming a very long time ago.
I mean, seriously. Since when do you have to prove yourself to somebody? You know, I've seen that a lot online. Somebody wanting whoever they're interested in to prove themselves to them.
Yeah, what a foreign concept, right, guys? Proving yourself to a man, giving men the incentive to actually include you into their lives. You know, guys, whenever we see these dating videos, one really common theme is that a lot of women never really consider what a man wants, and then they complain that dating is complicated, or dating is difficult, or they can't find a husband, or they can't find a partner. Maybe you should actually consider what men want, and hey, yes, you might actually have to prove yourself to a man. This is something that has been taught to men since they were little boys. You go out here, you be kind to women, you have to prove yourself. You know, if you like a girl, you've got to treat her well, you've got to give her flowers, all of this bullcrap, okay? But it's such like a wild foreign idea to a woman who's in her 50s to ever have to prove herself to somebody.
I mean, seriously, if you can't see my worth and my soul and my heart and the kind of person that I am, or you're choosing between me and someone else, then move on, because, you know, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that, she says. This is a rude awakening, guys, that happens to a lot of modern women, even the girls who get older, right? They say things like, if you have to choose between me and another girl, then just go with the other girl. But what these girls failed to realize is the men that they want have other options. And if that guy has the option between choosing a girl who is 50 plus years of age, maybe she's divorced, has some grown-up kids by now, you know, seen a whole bunch of bad boys, never really settled down properly, he's going to choose the younger woman. Okay, if you're sitting here and you're complaining about dating, saying it's difficult or it's hard, maybe you should select the men who don't have an abundance of options and will choose another girl over you every single time. But of course, these men are oftentimes invisible to these women, guys. That's why they rock up to 50 years of age and men are just completely invisible to them. It's because they never actually think to look at the guys who would treat them well, who would give them a nice time, who would take them out on dates. I think it's super interesting, guys, that these girls will say that chivalry is dead, even though there are plenty of men who are willing to be chivalrous for them.
I'm not. I'm just not. And as far as chasing somebody, I'm not doing that either. You know, call me old-fashioned, but I believe the man should pursue a relationship that he's interested in. And if the woman is interested, she'll, you know, pursue it back. But
yeah, and you know what? That has changed. This is no longer the 1950s, guys. You know, this idea of men pursuing women for relationships and stuff like this, I've mentioned this probably a few times on the last few videos, guys, but a very, very quick way to run a woman away is to push for a relationship. If any of you guys in the comments are messing with a girl right now, and, you know, you're in the quote-unquote talking stage, right? What a beautiful phrase, the talking stage. Just push for a relationship with that woman and watch how fast she runs away. Right? The idea that men are supposed to just offer up commitment and hope that women take it. This is 2022. That stuff is no longer flying. Okay, and these girls, guys, they get a rude awakening when they come to realize that, yeah, men are not being chivalrous anymore. It's such an interesting thing to see, right? Because you see the older ladies, when they try and return to the dating market or they try and settle down, they're like, wait a minute, where are all the chivalrous men? Then you got all the young girls growing up who just continually chase the bad boys, and they never, and all of them, like both spectrums, both sides of them, guys, cannot seem to find a man who's chivalrous, even though there are plenty of chivalrous men out there. Honestly, guys, at a certain point, it just becomes kind of comedic.
But I'm not going to be on here chasing anyone. No way.
Yeah, I had to scroll through her TikTok, by the way, guys, and she says that she's not chasing anyone or she's not trying for anybody, but it's interesting because when you go on these girls' pages, you know, this woman is like trying to thirst trap, trying to make herself look attractive. You know, she's got the makeup on in every post. So it's like, okay, you won't chase a man, but you'll dress up and you'll try and make yourself look good to post a whole bunch of videos for the attention of strangers, namely men, online. Like, I've never understood this train of thought, guys. Girls will say, you know, I'm not doing crap for a man. You know, a guy has to pursue a relationship with me. I'm never going to try for him. But then you look at her Instagram, and it certainly seems like she's trying for a whole bunch of different dudes that she doesn't even know. Like, guys, you can tell how successful a relationship is going to be with you. Get this, okay? You guys can tell the stage a relationship is in. So let's just say a woman is with a man, okay, and they're in a relationship together. You guys can tell when that relationship is going to break up simply by what the woman is posting. You can tell the relationship is about ready to go when she starts posting, you know, slightly more questionable photos than normal. She's posting more to her Instagram stories or whatever. She's basically putting out the bait for her next relationship, or just making sure that she can get the next guy to come along, guys. Like, girls don't seem to understand. They can say that they're not chasing a man. They can say that they're not doing these things, but their social media tells everything that you really need to know.
I'm just not going to do it. I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than do something like that. I don't know.
So this woman, guys, literally what she just said right there is she would rather be alone for the rest of her life than to ever chase a man or to ever try and prove herself to a man. You know, guys, I gotta start building like a soundboard. I've got a stream deck here that I use to tab between scenes. As you can see, you know, tab between here and here, right? I should make a page on the stream deck, and I should do what the other you know, other content creators do, where they have like a soundboard and just like collect these sound samples that are just so absolutely ridiculous that these women say.
I'm about ready to say forget it. It's just not worth it. It's not worth all this drama and craziness that this is all about these days. I mean, it used to be you were attracted to somebody, you know, you met them, you were attracted, and you talked and seen if you had similar interests. And
yeah, no, listen, that stuff has all kind of gone out the window, right? This whole idea of we're going to sit down, we're going to have a conversation, we're going to compare our interests, we're going to become friends first. That's an interesting thing that women try and sell men, by the way, guys. Don't buy into this crap of like, oh, we need to be friends first. We need to have these heart-to-hearts. We need to compare our values. Comparing values, having these long, big conversations, this is like what women want to do for the guy that's going to be their husband, not the guy that they're going to meet up with on that exact same day, have bedroom fun with, that guy that they barely know. No. They need to have the heart-to-heart. They need to form the connections with the guys who are actually going to be their long-term partners and their husbands and stuff like this. Like, guys, I've said this many times before, but when a woman says that you're husband material, or she says something like, oh, you know, you're like a boyfriend, but in like a few years or whatever, like your boyfriend, your husband material, these things are not compliments, okay? The guy who is required to stick around for the commitment and to put in all the hard work when the chads didn't have to do crap, that guy has got the short end of the stick. But girls will try and convince you, oh, but you know, we were friends first, we have this lovely connection. Meanwhile, there's some dude that's just come over that exact same night, met her that day, and that's that. But of course, you as the husband, you know, guys, you got to go out there, you got to mow the lawn, clean the gutters, put up shelves and all that kind of crap, guys, because obviously you two have a deeper connection. Let's keep going.
You know, just went further from there. But it's now proving if you're good enough.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, if you question whether I'm good enough, well, you can move the hell on.
And I gather that men have moved the hell on. Like, I don't know this woman's exact situation, guys. I'm going to assume, I think perhaps I saw the word divorce float around on her TikTok. I don't recall if it was this woman in particular. We cover a lot of different women on these episodes, guys, but this woman, even if she's been divorced, the two options basically have been, okay, she's been in a long-term relationship and she's got out of one for like, what, 30 years? I don't really buy it. Or she's been chasing chads, or a mixture of the two. Probably it's been a mixture of the two. I think that she's been divorced, you know, and also she's been trying her hand at dating, obviously running into some bad boys and stuff like that. But it's just interesting, guys, when they hit a point and they're like, you know what, I need to settle down. I'm ready to settle down after dating the chads, or I'm ready to settle down again after my divorce, after I've been through some more bad boys. And I just really want to form those connections. You know, why aren't men taking me seriously? Guys, girls specifically who get divorced, you shouldn't be re-entering the dating market. And the reason why I say girls specifically is because girls initiate most of the divorces anyway. Like, girls initiate most breakups, they initiate most divorces. Even when dudes think that they initiate breakups in regular relationships, oftentimes the woman has manipulated the end of the relationship. But let's wrap up this video here.
Because, no, I'm not doing it. Bye. I have a question.
Guys, you know, she's not doing it. She's not chasing the men. She'd rather die alone than to prove herself to a man. And you know what, guys? I think that's actually the direction that a lot of these modern women are heading in. Even like the girls who are in their 20s, okay, they're going to run into this exact same thing. Because, yeah, it's like the 304 phase. I'm a girl. I don't need no man. I'm strong and independent. But then issues start to rock around when they're like, wait a minute. I'd actually like some commitment, or I'd like a man to take me seriously, and then they start to have these problems. So guys, I have another video pulled up here, and this is from a female dating coach. Now, I had a look at this woman's videos, and she talks some sense in here. Okay, so I don't have anything in particular against this woman. I actually agreed with her on a lot of the videos that I went through and had a look at. But you know, guys, being a dating coach and being divorced, you know, these two things, at least in my mind, don't really go hand in hand. I'm not really a fan of dating coaches specifically. Like, yeah, but it is what it is. But anyway, she has a video here and she's talking about, should I feel a spark on the first date? Okay, now this is something that, if you guys don't know what girls are referring to when they say the spark, basically it just means sexual attraction. Okay, so they're asking the question, like, when I go out here dating, should I be seeing men who I'm not sexually attracted to? Okay, now a lot of girls these days, they do this. Why? Because they want free attention, free validation. A lot of girls will actually get into a relationship with a man even though they're not interested in him, and then go out and sneak out the back and cheat on the husband. This is why, like, a lot of dudes get really confused. Like, they'll have a wife or a girlfriend or something like that, and then their girlfriend will cheat on him with a complete a-hole, like a guy who's just completely quote-unquote awful, doesn't, you know, obviously doesn't care about the woman, but what she's doing is she's getting security from one man, she's getting provisioning from one man, she's getting validation from one man, but then she's going out and she's getting with the other dude who she's actually sexually attracted to on the back end. So this woman here is answering the question, should I feel a spark on the first date? Now I'm going to let her talk and then kind of explain our way through this. So let's take a listen.
Hey, Jennifer Hurwitz, dating coach and author of the new book, Midlife Priceless, a dating coach's guide to doing relationships right. So excited. Okay, get this question all the time. How many dates do you go on to see if there's chemistry? Good question, you guys. Good question. I am a firm believer that chemistry takes time. I used to say back in the day, oh my God, you have to have chemistry. The first date, there has to be a spark. You have to want to rip his clothes off and you have to want to jump or Okay, no. I've grown up. I've matured.
She has matured, guys. You see, this is what I'm talking about here, okay? So when they're in their early 20s, it's completely appropriate to say, I'm going to get with all these guys, right? I'm just going to go with guy after guy, the guys who I have, you know, attraction to on the first date. But then, and they don't even need dates, by the way, guys. Like, I see this thrown around all the time, okay? Girls will say, like, oh, I need 3 dates to be impressed, or I need men to take me on a whole bunch of dates. Guys, if a girl is really into you, she will just sacrifice everything. She'll drop everything to come and see you. She really absolutely will. Now, guys, obviously when you're going out, if you're a dude who's going out there dating, just be very careful of that, because a lot of girls are just straight up crazy as well. But like, when a girl's super into you, she doesn't need 3 dates to find out if there's attraction. Hell, these girls don't even need dates a lot of the time. Like, they really don't. Like, a girl will drop everything to come and see you if she's actually attracted to you. But insofar as this maturing thing, I find it funny, okay? So as girls get older, now they need to go on more dates with men, right? Now they need to establish a connection. Now they can wait and see, because they're running out of time. That is really what it comes down to.
This is my new thing. I really think chemistry takes time. You guys, I'm telling you, most of my really good long-term relationships, I didn't feel all the feels on the first date. I actually didn't feel the feels on the first date. I was like, ew, no. We became friends. We were friends for a long time. And then I fell in love with whoever it was because they were awesome and funny and witty and smart, and then they were sexy.
Can you guys imagine, right? And I'm sure a lot of dudes have been through this, maybe when you were younger, or maybe you didn't know any better. But can you guys imagine being friends with a woman for a long period of time? Okay, you're attracted to her. She knows you're into her. Meanwhile, she's not attracted to you. So what she'll do is she'll date a whole bunch of other dudes in front of you, and then eventually she'll come around to you. Like, can you guys imagine having, I think that we as men, we need to have more self-respect than that. Right, because girls, what this woman is describing is basically she's got a guy on the back burner who's her friend, and now that she's exhausted the bad boys and everything, oh well, she gave him a chance, and then one thing led to another, and I suppose they eventually had a relationship. Okay, how disgusting is that, guys, that we as men is just we're expected to go out here, be friends first, even though the girl's not attracted to us, and then maybe one day hope for the chance that she'll turn around and see our worth. What an incredibly disgusting thing to do, and what an incredibly large waste of time. I am a huge advocate, guys, for men spending their time wisely. Okay, and that is not a wise use of time. I don't care if you're a dude who's not interested in dating. I don't care if you're a dude who's interested in dating. There are just so many better things that you could be doing with your time than just be waiting for, as that one guy that the woman's going to pick up and eventually go on a date with, guys. And oftentimes this is after they've screwed around and messed around with the bad boys.
So do not let go of a great person because you don't feel all that bullshit chemistry, I love to call it, unhealthy bullshit chemistry on the first date.
Yeah, guys, don't throw away a good guy who's going to, you can see the logic here, right? Don't throw away a good guy who's going to stick around and do whatever just because you're not attracted to him. But the problem is you're not attracted to him. You see the problem? So even if you get into a relationship with this man, you're going to disrespect him. You're going to feel as though you're deserving of better. You're going to not really like the guy. Okay, so yeah, you might have a longer lasting relationship with him. First of all, he's actually got the short end of the stick by getting a long lasting relationship with you, which is just, guys, it's such an interesting thing to think about, is the dudes who are actually in relationships with a lot of these women are the guys who lose out. Okay, I've seen dudes who have been in long-term relationships with a woman, and they just have no idea what their woman has done with dudes on the first night that they've met. You see what I'm saying? The girl will have a long-term relationship with a guy who they've been friends with for a while, and that guy thinks, oh wow, I finally got into a relationship with this woman. I'm so incredibly lucky. But little did he know what other obscene things that woman has been up to in the meantime. There's
a difference between healthy chemistry and unhealthy chemistry, and we're going to talk about it with my guest next week on Doing Relationships Right podcast, and I'm not telling you who it is, but he knows all about it, and I love him. And I have a little crush on him too. Shh. Anyway, check it out next Tuesday. I am so excited. Oh, yeah. Anywho.
Okay, so I'm going to mute the video here, guys. Now, I had a look at some of this woman's other videos, and like, yeah, they do make sense, okay, some of them, but there are some things that I really just don't agree with here. And you gotta really acknowledge the red flags. By the way, so this woman, by the way, she's divorced. She's still friends with her ex-husband, okay? And I saw a video that she did talking about should you ever be friends with your exes, and she said yes, as long as there's no feelings. Guys, I just want to make something very clear, okay? Girls who are friends with their exes, just absolutely huge red flag, and I'm pretty sure we can see a multitude of red flags here as well. She's got a tattoo on her wrist. I don't know if you guys saw that, and I think there's also a tattoo on her chest, unless I'm mistaken, but I could just be seeing things there. But guys, let's continue into today's Reddit story that I have pulled up for us here today. And this is a hilarious one. I actually shared this with my editor while we were in Discord before I started recording this video. And this sounds like a Reddit story that everything is well and good, and you'll read it and you'll say to yourself, oh, well, Taylor, that makes sense. And it makes sense until you get to the last bit, and then you realize it doesn't. So let's take a look at this. This is posted to Relationship Advice 12 hours ago. Fantastic source of content for the channel. And it is titled, how can I, a 30-year-old female, tell my boyfriend, who is a 30-year-old male, that I changed my mind and I want to get married? So you might read that title and you might think to yourself, oh, well, Taylor, she just, she changed her mind. She wants to get married now, which is a tale as old as time. Pretty hilarious, if you ask me. Like, isn't it funny, guys, how when this quote-unquote maturing starts to happen, it basically just means I need more commitment from men because I don't want to spend the rest of my life without any sort of security, right? That's really what it means. Maturity is basically just code for I require more things from men. And they'll guise it as like, I know my self-worth now and all this bullcrap, but it basically just means that men need to provide me with more. So let's jump back into this story here. How can I tell my boyfriend that I changed my mind and I want to get married? I have been in a relationship for 6 years, so assumedly, they were both 24. Due to financial issues and getting our lives together later in life, we don't live together yet. We would love to move in together sometime next year since we are both still living at home. Years ago when we first started dating, I let him know that I did not want to get married at all. He agreed and said he didn't want to get married, and if we do, it won't be till he's 40 plus. So this woman has said to this guy, hey, listen, I don't want to get married. And he said, okay, I agree. And he said, like, I agree with you. So she's laid it out. She didn't want to get married. He said he doesn't want to get married as well. And he's like, on the off chance that we do, it won't be until we're 40 plus. But, these things have been established early into the relationship. Now, here's where things start to get a little bit messed up. So she says, I've changed my mind, and now I want to get married, especially before I have kids. I never thought I'd change my mind, but I have. I don't think my boyfriend wants to get married at all, and I don't want to force him, but at the same time, one of us will have to sacrifice. How can I break the news to him? I feel very uncomfortable because a conversation like this could make or break our relationship of 6 years. So this woman, because she's decided to change her mind on marriage, is ready to break up the relationship, even though at the very beginning she said that she didn't want it. So this woman is 6 years into a relationship, and all of a sudden, because she's changed her mind, she's about ready and willing to throw away 6 years of both of their lives. Can we get a round of applause? Guys, just fantastic logic right there. This is what I'm talking about. This is why it's so dangerous for men to get into these marriages, to get into these very long-term relationships, because when girls change their mind like this in the context of a marriage, or even in a situation like this for common law marriage, guys can be on the hook to lose a lot of their possessions. I'm talking, lose their houses, okay, lose a lot of their future income, lose any children that they may have together. Like, dudes are on the hook when girls start to change their mind just like this. Now, obviously, they're not married, okay, but common law still applies. Girls are able to simply just change their mind and say, oh, I'm not interested in him anymore. We've come to some sort of irreconcilable difference, which is how they mark it down these days. You know, let's just remove the marriage, let's split up, and the man is typically the one that suffers a consequence. And the other thing that I'll notice about this story, guys, is notice how this woman is coming into 30 years of age, and now she's starting to talk about things like, okay, well, we need to move in together. Now we need to get married, especially before I have kids. Okay, so all of these things, what they really mean is security from a man, and now she's ready to have that security from a man. It's just, guys, men need to really, you know, have some education about this, because the problem is men are not taught this stuff. Men are not explained what is going on. So a lot of these guys are just grinder for the divorce courts, okay? They go out there, they get their whole lives screwed up, and the girls are just like, oh, well, you know, it's what I want now. I've matured, okay? So let's take a read of some of these comments here. So this is written, I haven't read any of these comments. Let's just see what people have to say. What's my password 73 says, if it matters to you, you need to say something. Does it matter enough that you would be willing to break up? Only you can decide that. People are allowed to change their mind, but he's allowed to not want to be married. If this would break your relationship, it's better to find out now. Yes, the original poster said, I think I'm just terrified to bring this topic up. My gut is telling me to wait and get married before children. I don't even need a big ceremony. Just legally get married. You know, guys, just give me that legal contract, that financially binding contract between a man, a woman, and the government. Fantastic stuff. Just, I need to have that legality behind it. Yep. So Penny here says, if it's the legal difference of marriage that you want in order to safeguard when having kids, and you've already agreed on having kids, then there could be non-marriage custody and financial agreements a lawyer could put in place for the two of you. In any case, you need to have this conversation together. It may help you get over your fears to think on why you've changed your mind. He will probably want to know too. Let's take a read of some of these other comments. This individual here says, you're absolutely right that this could make or break, and they've spelt this as in handbrake, which is fantastic, the relationship, but it's a conversation that has to happen. He is under the impression that the two of you are in agreement on this topic. You, the one who has changed their mind, need to be the one to start the conversation. Does he want kids? Really curious why you changed your mind. It's just for the security. Right, it's really just for the financial security and the binding of the two together, you know, because obviously, guys, you've got to involve the government in your relationships these days. Just an absolutely intelligent idea to do, especially when it's not the woman who gets screwed over, but the man typically. But let's continue here. Okay, guys, we've actually got another Reddit story that we're going to have a quick read of, and then we're going to wrap up today's episode because we are almost out of time. So I'm just going to breeze through this one here. We might return to this one tomorrow as well. So this one is a story of a guy who is a guy who has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is going with the guy best friend to a military ball across the country for the weekend. Now, I might just talk about this for a couple of minutes, guys, and not actually cover this in detail. We'll cover this on the next episode here, but I've heard this come up so many different times. Girls will say, oh, he's just a friend, or this guy's my best friend. And this woman in this particular scenario is literally going to a ball with this dude. But guys need to understand that girls will lie about this crap. They'll say he's just a friend. They'll say, oh, you know, he's just my best friend, things like this. But at the end of the day, the guy is interested in her, and she very well knows it. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. Make sure you leave your thoughts and your comments to today's episode, guys. And as always, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.